I welcome you into this quiet room. The lamp throws a soft circle of light. A chair waits. A blanket rests within reach. I invite you to settle in. Take the weight of the day off the shoulders. Lay it gently on the edge of the chair, or let it fall to the floor. Allow the breath to find its rhythm. I read the Bible to you before sleep. This is a time to breathe and to listen. The pace is slow. The tone is calm. The words are chosen to soothe. The aim is mercy and hope in Christ. There is no debate here. There is only rest. I ask for an open heart, not as a test, not to measure faith, simply to make room, to let a quiet truth find its place inside. The invitation sits like an open window. The night air comes in. The mind can release its tight hold on worry. The hands can unclench. The chest can relax. I speak plainly. I use gentle images. Picture Arbor at dusk. Light trims the water. A small boat drifts in. The rope slips loose from the dock and is taken in with ease. The weight of the voyage is still there, but the water holds the boat. This is the way the promises of God come to us. They do not force. They receive. I describe what this reading will do. It gathers tired thoughts. It smooths frayed edges. It brings a touch that says, "You are not alone." It reassures that mercy meets mistakes. It promises rest in ways the day cannot. The message leans towards simple truths, presence, provision, pardon, and peace. No sermon. No argument. Only a steady hand guiding towards sleep. I keep sentences short for listening. The rhythm stays soft. Each phrase comes like a slow step down a staircase. Breathe in on the first step. Breathe out on the next. Feel the body aligning with the voice. The voice becomes a gentle tide. It eases the mind toward the shore. I invite small gestures. Close the eyes if it helps. Let the hands find the blanket. Adjust the pillow. Turn the phone to silent, or place it on the other side of the room. Small acts create a space for quiet. They tell the body that the day's busyness is over. They create room for a truth that is steady and kind. I do not list heavy doctrines. There are no long debates, only simple presentes e promises. They arrive like soft light through a window. One promise is about staying near. The sense is of a hand that rests, not a pressure that pushes. Another promise speaks of being seen, not as a record of faults, but as someone known in the quiet and still loved. A third promise is of rest, a permission to lean and to sleep with calm. A fourth offers guidance, like a lantern on a path where the way ahead looks uncertain. Each promise is an invitation to let go, to trust the night to its quiet work. I remind of mercy. The word is gentle. It covers many small failures. It does not tally them. Mercy breathes and forgives. It opens the bedside window and lets the fresh air come back in. Mercy also heals the small torn places in the heart. It smooths them with a kind and steady hand. I speak of hope in Christ with tenderness. Hope here is not a taut expectation. It is a warm knowing. It is the steady belief that even small light returns. Hope stands like a lamp on a table. It does not announce loudly. It is present. It guides the steps back to rest. I use simple images to help this land in the body. Picture a lantern hung in a hallway at night. You walk slowly toward it. The light does not hurry you. It simply holds the way. Or imagine a field after rain. The soil drinks quietly. The air smells clean. The plants do not panic. They gently lift their faces. These small pictures help the mind find rest. I remind the listener to let thoughts pass like clouds. Notice them. Name them if it helps. Then let them float on. Do not chase. Do not wrestle. The mind is allowed to wander and then return. The act of returning is kind. The act of noticing without judgment is prayer in simple form. I set a gentle structure for the evening readings. Each session starts with a quieting breath. Then, a short passage follows, read slowly. After the reading, a short reflection helps the words land. Finally, we close with a simple invitation to sleep. Carrying the promises like a blanket, there is no rush. Each step moves with care. I keep language for listening. Each sentence is meant to rest on the ear. The cadence is soft. The meaning is clear. There is no need for heavy vocabulary. The aim is calm. The words serve the breath and the fall towards sleep. I remind that authenticity matters more than perfection. Bring what is true. Bring the tired parts. Bring the quiet joys. Bring the regrets. They are all welcome. The scene is not one of performance, but of belonging. The invitation is not to fix everything tonight. It is to lay it down and to be met by a steady, kind presence. I emphasize the practical. Rest is part of faith. Sleep is not a failure to trust. It is a gift. Letting go of the day is an act of trust. Lying down is an act of faith. The heart that rests receives mercy. The hands that unclench are given peace. I encourage simple practices that pair with these readings. A soft glass of water near the bed. A short moment of gratitude for one small thing that happened today. A steadying breath. In on the count of 4. Out on the count of 6. These small acts anchor the body. They make the space where the voice reads feel real and safe. I aim for a voice that carries urgency for none and care for all. There is no pressure to feel anything in particular. The invitation is gentle. The hope is quiet. The assurance does not demand understanding. It simply offers presence. I mentioned that the readings will touch on many small promises across the nights. They might speak of shelter, of guidance, of forgiveness, of provision. Each evening will bring one promise close enough to be felt. The pattern is steady. Each part of the series unfolds slowly. The whole will shape into a long, gentle season of rest. I also invite short pauses during the reading. A pause is a small space to breathe. It allows the words to sink in. It keeps the pace unhurried. The pauses are not awkward. They are part of the rhythm. Like resting on one step before descending to the next. I ask for trust in the simplicity. The readings avoid heavy debate. The mind is not asked to break into arguments. The heart is asked only to listen. The ears are asked to rest. The body is invited to sleep. I remind that mercy is always near. It does not depend on a clean record. It depends on a heart willing to receive. The promise stands like a bridge. One step toward it is enough to begin crossing. Then another step comes with ease. I describe the closing of this introduction. There is a short passage ahead. It speaks of a promise to be near in the dark. It speaks of a peace that settles like dusk. I will read it slowly. The words will be measured. The reflection that follows will be quiet and brief. Then there will be a final invitation to rest. I prepare the Bible now. The cover opens easily. The pages smell faintly of paper and quiet. I settle my place. The lamp hums very low. The room listens. The breath finds the rhythm of the night. I invite one final small act. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw soften. Unclench the hands. This small relaxation tells the body that the day is over. It makes room for mercy to come in. I begin the first reading. The voice lowers. The pace slows. The words come with care. The first promise meets the ear like a kindly hand at the end of a long day. We move together into the calm of the night. I lift the Bible and let the thin light catch the edges of the pages. The room breathes with me. The sound of the page turning is small and soft. I find a passage that sits quietly in the middle of the book. I read it slowly. The aim is ease. The aim is rest. The passage speaks of a steady care. It pictures a steady presence at work through the night, a hand that stays close, a path kept clear even when the way looks confusing. The words arrive as calm images. A lamp stays lit. A roof shelters. A friend watches without rush. Nothing in the passage insists on perfect answers. It only offers company. It only shows kindness that does not tally mistakes. I let each sentence rest between breaths. A short pause follows each phrase. Time stretches a little. The voice becomes a slow current. The heart can follow the current without strain. The mind can let small worries bob and move away. After the reading, I pause longer. Silence fills the room like soft cloth. The quiet is not empty. It holds the last phrase and lets it settle into the body. A single, steady thought remains. You are seen, not in a harsh light, but in the lamp's glow, not as a list of faults, but as a person known. That sense is enough for now. I turn to reflection. Just a few notes, gentle and simple. The reflection holds the reading close to life. It keeps the pace slow. First, notice what you did today. Not the long list. Not the ideal. The small things count. If one thing went well, it matters. If one moment of patience showed up, it matters. If a task was finished, even a small one, it matters. The day does not have to be dramatic to be real. Quiet effort is still achievement. Second, be gentle with losses. If something fell through, name it and let it rest. Loss does not erase what was done well. The same hand that keeps watch also gathers broken pieces. The mind can accept both the things done and the things left undone. Third, let thanks touch the moment. A single breath of gratitude changes the space. It need not be loud. It can be as simple as naming one small comfort before sleep, a warm cup, a kind word a stop that turned out right. Naming makes the day's edges soft. Now I guide you through a short exercise. Think of 3 small achievements from today. They can be as simple as getting out of bed when it felt hard. Keep them small if that helps. Let the eyes soften with each one. Place a hand over the chest or let the feet find the blanket. Allow a brief smile. Each small achievement is a quiet proof of endurance. I avoid rushing this part. The pause between each remembered item is long. Let breath follow each thought. Inhale gently. Exhale fully. Let gratitude sink in like water into soil. The heart needs to be watered in small measures. There is mercy woven through these ideas. Mercy meets the small failures and makes room for rest. It does not demand a long accounting. It notices the weary hands and covers them. The promise here is simple. You are not required to be whole to be seen. You are invited to be honest and to receive calm. I keep the language plain. The aim is listening, not studying. The words aim to rest on the ear, like a warm cloth placed on tired shoulders. Theology is not the point. Comfort is. I offer a short moment of prayer now. It is quiet and spare. Give thanks for one small thing. Ask for peace in the night. Ask for the letting go that sleep gives. This is not a test of faith. It is a small practice that prepares the spirit to rest. The next few minutes are for quiet breathing. In for 4 counts. Out for 6. Let the belly soften. Let the shoulders slide down. The breath keeps a steady tempo. It becomes a tether to the present. Each exhale releases some clench. Each inhale brings a gentle restoring. I speak a little about hope. It is not something far off. Hope sits like a small flame in the room. It does not roar. It simply shows that light is possible. Hope asks nothing dramatic. It only invites a continued walk. The next morning will come. It comes with small mercies. That truth steadies the night. I remind that faith often looks like small, repeated trust. Lying down is trust. Closing the eyes is trust. Allowing the mind to let go is trust. These are not weak acts. They are brave and quiet. They say yes to rest. They allow mercy to do its work. There is a brief instrument of music in the background now. It is soft and slow. It does not demand attention. It supports the voice. The sound resembles a distant brook. The music helps the words settle. I invite one more short reading. This time the passage speaks of a sheltering peace. It speaks of a welcome that waits at the edge of fatigue. The tone is low. The speed is slow. I read in phrases that allow the sound to spread gently through the room. No sermon follows. Just a small echo of the promise. After the reading, a silence holds. The lamp's light shifts. Shadows become friendlier. The room leans towards sleep. The breath steadies. The mind moves from one thought to another with ease, like a hand sliding across a smooth surface. Before closing, I offer a soft invitation. If these evenings bring comfort, consider sharing the space with others. A quiet subscribe helps these sessions continue. A simple comment can let others know they are not alone. Sharing the video with a friend or community spreads the calm. There is no pressure. The suggestion is gentle. Think of it as passing a blanket to someone who needs warmth. I thank anyone listening for trusting this time. The gratitude is quiet and true. It rests in the same room with the listener. The act of listening matters. This shared stillness is a small kindness in the world. Now I close with a short benediction. It is not heavy. It is a few steady sentences that fold the night around the listener. May peace arrive. May mercy touch the small places that ache. May hope keep a small light. Let sleep come without hurry. Let the body soften. Let the heart be held. The Bible closes softly. The page lies down. The lamp's glow shrinks to a mild warmth. The blanket waits. The breath finds its slow course. The room becomes a harbor. The night keeps its promise to quiet the day. I leave the last few moments for silence. Move in them if needed. Breathe in once more. Breathe out and let go. The door to sleep is gentle. Step through at your own pace. Good night. I lift the thin Bible again. The cover warms under the lamp. Pages whisper as they turn. The room inhales. A small passage waits. I bring a verse near. In quiet words, let the light you have shine. Let small kindness be seen. The meaning is soft. It asks for gentle courage. It asks only that what is good be visible, not to boast, not to keep it hidden. The light is a small offering. It meets the world without strain. I pause and let that idea rest. A single breath follows. The thought settles like dust on a windowsill. The room feels patient. Notice a small thing done today. A kind word. A held door. A meal prepared. A task finished. However small, each act of care is a tiny lamp. Each kind intention is a match. Together they make a small glow. That glow matters. The sight of it is enough. I speak of intention now. Intention is not a tally. It is a heart turned toward goodness. God sees the motive behind the action. The sight is not a microscope for fault. It is a lighthouse for care. That truth frees the hands. It allows rest without guilt. Take a moment to remember one quiet, good act. Let the memory come without judging it. Keep the image soft. Let the chest feel it. A warm feeling spreads with that memory. Place a hand where the warmth rests. I offer a brief exercise to hold this promise. Name 3 small deeds. Name them slowly. Pause between each name. Breathe in, breathe out. Let each name soften the mind. Let each one be a light to hold through the night. The room listens. The lamp keeps its gentle pull. No word pushes. The rhythm remains peaceful. Now I turn us toward another gift for tonight. A place for worries. A soft instruction to set them down. Worry is heavy. It clings like damp cloth. Sleep does not ask for its company. A choice can be made to set it aside. First, notice the worry. Name it simply. Speak it to the quiet in 1 or 2 words. The act of naming makes room around it. The mind can then step back. The worry is not swallowed. It is seen and placed. Second, Place the worry on an imagined table. Picture the table in the center of the room. Put the worry on it like a small bundle. See how it rests. See how light touches it. You do not have to fix it tonight. The table holds what you cannot carry. Third, invite a steady hand to take the bundle. Imagine handing the bundle over. The image does not force anything. It lets mercy receive the load. There is a calm in that handing. Breathe and feel the weight lessen. If helpful, write the worries on a scrap of paper. Fold each scrap slowly. Set them in a small bowl or box. Place the bowl near the blanket. The bowl is a sign. It is a way to say this will wait. Trust that it will not be lost. Trust that it can be cared for in the morning. We keep the steps simple. They do not demand proof. They ask only for a willing motion. The small ritual helps the body understand the mind's choice to rest. Now a breathing pattern to follow. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold gently for 2. Breathe out for 6. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. This slows the heart. It gives the muscles permission to soften. Repeat for a few cycles. Count with the breath, as if counting beads. The rhythm becomes a lullaby for the nervous system. Imagine a river nearby. The shoulder of the river is calm. Place each worry as a leaf on the water. Watch it float away. Do not strain to push it. Let it move with the current. The picture is simple. It invites trust. I offer a short, humble prayer now. It is spare. It asks for rest. It asks for guidance in the morning. It hands over small fears. The prayer is not long. It is like putting down a cup on the nightstand, quiet and deliberate. Remember that letting go is not forgetting. Memory can remain. The act is to stop carrying the ache through the night. Night is for healing. Night is for repair. Allow it to do that work. If sleep resists, return to the list of small deeds. Let those lights shine again. Let them be anchors. Each remembered kindness is a steady point. The mind moves between worry and kindness like a gentle tide. Balance holds. I speak now of mercy touching the worn places. Mercy is not distant. It comes quietly. It wraps without asking for explanations. Mercy tends the small breaks. It does not rush. It waits with patience. Let the idea of mercy rest on a part of the body, maybe on the chest, maybe at the temple. Feel a soft pressure, as if someone rests a hand there. The presence is calming. We keep thoughts like passing birds. Watch them come near. Name them if that helps. Then let them fly on. The mind is a sky. Worries come and go. They do not have to stay. A short reflection follows. Think of one care that feels heavy. Offer it this way. Name it. Place it on the table. Hand it over. Breathe slowly. Imagine the river. One by one, the pace stays deliberate. There is no rush. I remind gently that rest itself is faithful work. Sleeping is not an absence of meaning. It is a part of living well. The body repairs. The mind sorts. The heart receives mercy. Let the act of closing the eyes be an act of trust. There is soft music under the words now. It is low, and even it sits like distant rain. The music does not ask for attention. It simply cradles the voice. As the breathing calms, the room grows clearer. The lamp drops to a steady glow. Shadows lean in like soft curtains. The body finds ease in small places, the knees, the jaw, the fingers. Let each place soften in turn. Before closing this part, I offer one more small practice. Imagine holding a little lantern. The lantern contains the small deeds of the day. It gives light to the table where the worries sit. The light does not remove the worries. It shows them differently. It reminds that goodness exists alongside difficulty. Both can be held. Both can be known. The lantern and the river work together. The light helps the eyes see mercy. The river helps the hands let go. We end with a quiet blessing. May the small lights of today stay near. May worry find its place on the table and rest there. May breathing slow the body. May mercy enter wherever the heart feels thin. Sleep with the sense of being seen and cared for. Sleep with the knowing that small deeds count and small releases heal. I close the Bible. Now, the page lays flat. The lamp holds a soft warmth. The breath moves with a steady ease. The room becomes a harbor again. Step toward sleep at a gentle pace. The night keeps its promise. The morning will come with small mercies. Good night. The lamp is low. The Bible rests on my lap. The room holds a patient hush. I sit with you in that hush. My voice moves slowly. Each word arrives like a quiet step. I prepare the space for rest. I invite small motions. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaws soften. Unlace the hands from one another. A few deep breaths come. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out and let more go. These are small gates into sleep. I remind you of a steady comfort. It is not loud. It is not brash. It is an ever-present hand. The psalm I carry tonight tells us to place our burdens somewhere safe. Cast them upon the Lord. It says, and find steady support. The promise rests like a bench at the side of a long path. Sit if you need to. Lay down the pack. The weight does not have to travel with you through the night. I read that verse with care. I let the sound of it sink into the room. The sense of it is gentle. You do not have to bear everything alone. A kind presence waits to sustain what is too heavy. Say the words quietly in your head. If that helps, let the thought become a small pillow under the weary parts. Now I guide a quiet step toward seeking forgiveness. This is a tender practice. It is not punishment. It is not a ledger. It is a way to begin with a clean heart before sleep. Rest asks for an honest place to lie down. Forgiveness makes that place honest. First, I ask for attention to one small thing. Name it without drama. A single word will do. Perhaps a harsh sentence said today. Perhaps something left undone. Perhaps a careless choice. Speak it in the mind. Ask the body to listen without judgment. The act of naming brings light to what has been hidden. It does not shame. It frees. Second, I walk you through confession as a simple motion. Confession here means saying what is true. It means turning the small wrong toward the steady light. I suggest a brief, clear sentence in the heart. This is the thing I regret. Keep it plain. Keep it brief. The point is not to rehearse guilt. The point is to hand the truth over. Third, I guide the asking for forgiveness. Bend toward the presence you trust. Let a quiet question rise. Will you take this from me? The request need not be ornate. A few honest words are enough. The asking is a tiny door. Mercy can pass through it. Remember the Psalm's invitation. Place the burden on that steady bench. Let the promise receive what you cannot carry. I also include a small turn toward repair. Asking forgiveness pairs with a willingness to change. Consider one small next step you can take tomorrow. It can be as simple as a different tone, a shorter answer, a plan to apologize if needed. A small intention helps the heart feel anchored. It is not a heavy vow. It is a gentle plan. Now I offer a quiet image to hold while you do this. Imagine a shallow pool under the lamp. The thing you name is a leaf on the water. It is there, but the surface holds it. As you ask for forgiveness, watch the leaf move to the pool's edge. The water does not judge the leaf. It simply accepts it. Let the image carry the feeling of receiving. I move slowly through each of these steps with you. Pause after each one. Let breath steady. Feel the body respond. Relaxation deepens when the mind finds a rhythm. There is a delicate difference between confession and self-attack. The first makes room. The second keeps the wound open. If the thought of confessing leads to harsh words inside, gently redirect. Replace that script with a kinder one. I am willing to change. I will not stay where I hurt others. Mercy meets the parts that struggle. I read a small passage that echoes this mercy. It speaks of a hand that lifts burdens and steadies the weary. Hear it as a soft promise. The words do not force a fast repair. They simply assure that support is available. Let the promise rest with the shoulders. Let it be a quiet anchor. After naming and asking, practice acceptance. Receive the mercy offered. Picture your hands unclenching. Feel the knot in the chest loosen. Do not demand dramatic relief. Accept small easing. Sometimes forgiveness comes like a slow tide. Sometimes it arrives as a single deep breath. Both are welcome. If the mind refuses to accept mercy, return to the image of the bench. Place the burden there again. Speak the name. Watch the weight stay on the bench. Sleep need not fix everything tonight. It needs a willing step toward rest. I also invite reconciliation with others when it is possible and safe. A simple note tomorrow or a brief word can mend a small tear. If the path back is complicated, place a gentle plan on the nightstand of your thoughts. Intent is often enough to settle the heart for a night. The act of planning does not remove all worry. It does bring hope. Now a brief, careful exercise. Close the eyes if that feels right. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat. As you exhale, say silently, I lay this down. As you inhale, picture the hand that holds steady. let the rhythm match the promise. If memories return, do not force them away. Acknowledge them with the same tender naming. Place them on the bench. Watch them from a short distance. The practice is to notice without feeding the spiral of regret. There is no need to list every mistake. Choose one that feels weightiest. Now, deal with that one. The rest can wait for morning light. Sleep restores the clarity needed for the next steps. Mercy often works best after rest. I keep the words plain and soft. They are meant for listening. The language is not a lecture. It is a companion. The tone is slow. Each sentence rests on the ear like a soft hand. I offer a short, silent prayer now. It is not ornate. It asks for forgiveness where it is needed. It asks for help to make small, kind changes. It asks for rest. Hold the prayer like a small lantern. Let it warm the chest. After this, imagine a cloak of quiet slipping over the shoulders. The cloak is woven from mercy and intention. It is not heavy. It drapes easily. With each breath, the cloak settles deeper. The body accepts its weight as comfort. I stay with you a few more moments. The room is still. The lamp's glow shrinks to a patient point. The Bible rests closed now, but warm. The promise from Psalm 55:2 echoes, a steady invitation to lay burdens down. Before ending, a final practical step. If words of apology or repair are needed in the morning, jot one line on paper. Keep it short. Place the paper where it will be seen when eyes open. This small act frees the night from carrying unfinished business. Now, breathe once more with intention. In for 4, out for 6. Let the last exhale carry the named burden toward the bench in the mind. Accept the quiet that follows. Sleep is a kind work. Mercy does its gentle tending in the dark. I close this part with a steady benediction. May mercy meet the confessed places. May forgiveness be near when asked for. May rest come without accusation. May the morning bring small ways to repair. Let sleep soften what is sore. Let the heart wake, ready for a fresh, forgiving day. The lamp dims. The breath becomes the only sound. The room holds a promise. Step softly into the night. The rest you need is waiting. Good night. The room waits. The small lamp gives a soft pool of light. The Bible lies open in my hands. Pages breathe when they turn. I read a short passage about grace. The words do not weigh. They rest like a gentle hand. Grace is the theme tonight. Not a distant idea. Not a task. It is a present care that meets the places that ache. It comes over mistakes and quiet failures. It wraps them. It does not hide them. It heals them slowly. I speak plainly. Grace is like a mender's work. Imagine a worn coat. The sleeve frays. The edge thins. A careful stitch gathers the thread and brings strength back to the cloth. The stitch does not pretend the tear never happened. It joins two pieces and makes the garment whole in its own way. That is how grace approaches a life. It notices the tear and sets to work. Another image helps. Think of a small wound on the hand. At first it stings. Then a cool balm soothes it. The balm does not take away the memory of the fall. It eases the pain so the skin can knit. Grace is that balm. It is present at first touch. It waits while healing takes its time. I read again. Slowly, the phrases sit like soft stones. Each stone is steady. They give a path to cross a small stream. The stream is not deep. The feet might falter. The stones help. The message says faltering is not final. Steps may slip. Help arrives. Now a simple practice. If it helps, close the eyes for a moment. Place a hand over the place in the chest that feels thin. The palm rests there like a warm cloth. Breathe in gently. Breathe out fully. Picture an old needle and thread in the mind. The thread is a fine, soft strand of light. With each exhale, imagine a tiny stitch being made. Each stitch brings a small mending. Do this slowly, perhaps for 10 breaths. Let each breath be one stitch. No hurry, no demand for repair all at once. Just small, faithful work. This exercise is not magic. It is a way to let the idea of grace land in the body. The mind learns by image. The body learns by small gestures. The hand on the chest makes the image real. The breath gives the rhythm. The combination soothes. I also invite a different picture. Picture a gardener in a quiet plot. A plant leans after the wind. The gardener does not scold the plant. Hands tuck the stem. Add some soil. Dear, gentle support. Over time the plant straightens. It bears new leaves. Grace often moves like that gardener. It steadies without force. It tends without shame. If a particular failure hangs heavy tonight, name it briefly in the mind. A few words will do. Keep the tone kind. Then imagine placing that care on a small patch of cloth. The cloth is soft and plain. The act of placing creates a gap between the self and the burden. Now, picture the mender Grace coming to press the cloth and begin sewing. Watch the stitches cross and hold. The burden does not vanish, but it rests on the repaired patch. Breathing slowly. Feel how the body can let go a little. There is healing in naming. The act of seeing a fault plainly is not to shame, but to locate it. Once seen, it can be tended. Grace does not cover truth with denial. It meets truth gently and offers aid. This is a small and steady fact. It brings hope like the first thin light at dawn. I read a quiet phrase about being covered. The words move like a warm breeze. They carry no accusation. They carry a promise to stay near. Listen to that staying. Let it fill the ears and settle on the shoulders. The presence is calm. The presence is patient. A brief, practical step follows. If something needs a small repair tomorrow, pick one tiny action that makes sense. Maybe a short note, a clear word, a different tone in a conversation. Keep it simple. Small mending often begins with a small act. No grand gestures required. The morning can find gentle ways to tend what is frayed. Now breathe with me in a slow, even rhythm. In for 4 counts. Hold for a brief 2. Out for 6. Each exhale softens a muscle. Each inhale brings a little warmth. As breath slows, notice where the body holds tension. Soften that place. The eyes, the jaw, the throat. Ease them with a gentle will. Let the breath be a tool of care. Grace also heals by making room. Picture a shelf inside a quiet room. Some books are stacked haphazardly. One is bent. A steady hand straightens the stack. Dust is brushed away. The shelf breathes again. The space around the books becomes lighter. That is another way grace works. It clears the small clutter so that light can return where it was dim. I encourage a tiny habit tonight. Each time a whispered regret returns, do not chase it. Greet it like an old neighbor at the gate. Say a soft hello. Then invite the neighbor inside for one small cup of peace. Let the rest of the night be for repair. This practice does not erase the neighbor. It changes how the evening keeps company. There is no heavy theology here. Words stay simple. The heart prefers small, clear images. They help the mind rest. They help the body believe in slow healing. I read once more a short passage that speaks of being clothed. Imagine a soft garment being drawn over the shoulders. It fits just so. It is warm. It does not hide scars. It keeps them comfortable. Imagine that garment is offered freely. No condition. The gift is plain. Receive it if that feels right. A short prayer recess now. Quiet and plain. Ask for grace to meet the weary parts. Ask for hands to mend what can be mended. Ask for rest where repair must wait. The prayer is one or two simple sentences in the heart. It does not demand answers. It asks only for presence. If sleep resists, return to the stitch exercise. Place the hand on the chest. Breathe. Stitch with each exhale. Think of each stitch as a small act of mercy. Let the rhythm fill the space. Let thought slow until it matches the quiet pace of the breath. I suggest another gentle image for waking. Imagine the morning sun warming the patched coat. The light shows the stitches but also highlights the strength in them. The mending becomes a place of beauty, not just concealment. This image is hopeful. It says that what is repaired can shine in its own way. Before closing, settle one practical item. If a small apology or repair seems right, write a note tonight. Not long, one clear line. Place it where the morning will find it. This creates a bridge from night to day. The heart can rest, knowing a small step is ready for morning light. Now, a final blessing. May grace meet each falter like an honest hand. May healing come in small stitches. May rest be given without pressure. May the morning bring soft ways to continue repair. Sleep with the sense of being held and tended. The Bible closes softly. The lamp keeps a gentle glow. The hand on the chest rests warm. Breathe in once more. Breathe out and let go. The night is quiet. The work of grace continues through sleep. Good night. I sit with a fresh page of memory tonight. The lamp gives its usual circle of light. The Bible rests open. The spine is familiar. I read a small reminder first. I remember Ephesians 2:8-9. and the simple truth it holds. Grace comes as a gift. It is not earned. It is not a ladder we climb. It is given, plain and unexpected. I let that settle in the room like a soft hush. I bring a friend to this quiet. His name is simple in my mind. He arrives like a slow knock on the door. I do not tell this story to judge. I tell it to show a route past fear. The details are gentle. The shape matters more than the facts. He grows in a place of small noise. Work comes and goes. Responsibilities crowd him. He carries a habit he does not like. The habit becomes a quiet thief. Days begin to blur. The face in the mirror gets tired. He tries hard. Effort comes in fits. Pride pushes back. Shame grows larger than the mistakes. People withdraw. He feels alone in a crowded room. One evening, he sits under a streetlight and counts the cost. The counting is heavy. He names the small losses, an argument. A missed call. The empty seat at dinner. The mind rehearses what is lost. The chest tightens. Sleep becomes shallow. The habit promises relief, but brings only more absence. Someone notices. It is not a thunderous rescue. It is a neighbor who brings a cup of soup. A colleague leaves a note with a simple line of kindness. A church member quietly asks if he needs a ride. None of these are dramatic. They are small. Steady entrances of care. They are not earned. They arrive like rain through a cracked roof, unwanted, yet life-giving. He visits a quiet room one night. The Bible is open. He hears a short passage read slowly. The voice is gentle and patient. It does not demand explanation. It does not tally excuses. It simply offers a promise. Help is present. The phrase that catches him is that grace is given, not owed. He does not have to prove worth to receive it. That truth unthreads him a little. The armor of self-blame loosens. Relief is measured, not extravagant. It comes like a slow tide lifting his boots out of mud. He makes a small choice the next morning, not a grand conversion. A single step. He calls a number that had been avoided. He shows up to a group that meets in a small room. He listens. He admits nothing dramatic. He only says enough to reveal the ache. The words are clumsy and honest. The group meets him without drama. No sermons. Just people who know loss. They share small, practical things. One person offers a ride to work. Another brings a loaf of bread. Someone reads a short passage of scripture before coffee. The tender rhythm of these tiny practices begins to reshape his days. Redemption for him does not look like an overnight fix. It moves in small measures. There is a day he slips. The old habit returns in a moment of loneliness. He feels the pull and stumbles. Shame rises again like fog. But this time the fog does not take him completely. A friend calls in the middle of the day. The call is brief and kind. It does not scold. It simply asks if he is okay. He breathes and says he is not. The friend listens and offers a small plan come by after work. Bring whatever you need. We will eat and sit. The plan is practical and gentle. It is not heroic. It is ordinary mercy. Slowly. Small patterns build. Mornings become steady. He learns to set one tiny routine: a short walk, a glass of water, a quick prayer, or a single verse read from the Bible. He does not force himself to feel grateful at first. He rests in the tiny acts themselves. Each is a small brick in a road he can walk without slipping. He begins to sleep a little longer. The breathing eases. The jaw unclenches. At work, people begin to notice that he shows up differently. Not flawless, not suddenly certain, just present. He returns a borrowed book. He answers a message. These small returns stitch other lives back together. The trust does not come back all at once. It returns in measured, repeatable steps. Redemption lives in repetition. One clear night stands out. He sits with me and listens to a passage about grace. There is no ceremony. He only lets the words land. I read slowly, the way I read to you now. He closes his eyes and breathes. After that night, he makes a deliberate change. He asks for help in a concrete way. He agrees to meet with someone who can counsel him. The counseling is practical. It teaches small habits for days when the pull feels strong. It teaches how to reach out before the fall, not after. It is not magic. It is steady coaching and honest work. I emphasize the phrase again. Grace is a gift, not earned. This changes how he views himself. He stops pretending that only a perfect record will make him acceptable. The relief is not a license to be careless. It is permission to be real. It makes room for repair. Not denial. He also learns to forgive himself. This is not a single moment. It is a daily practice. He begins by naming one small kindness he did in a day. It can be as simple as listening to a friend or watering a plant. He keeps a tiny notebook. Each entry is short. Each entry is a small light he can read on darker nights. The notebook becomes a witness to his steady steps. It prevents despair from convincing him that nothing good has happened. Time pass. There are seasons of strain. Old temptations return sometimes like familiar seasons of weather. He meets them with learned patterns. He calls a friend. He walks. He reads a verse. He speaks a short prayer. The acts are small and consistent. They do not erase the past. They build a future that can hold the past without being crushed by it. One day he offers help to another person in the same bind. The roles softly reverse. He brings soup. He listens. He reads a calming verse before sleep. The act is simple and sincere. Helping does not mean forgetting what happened. It means using the memory to reach out where others may falter. Redemption multiplies when it becomes service. I do not present this as an exceptional series of miracles. I tell it because it is a pattern that can feel far from our own reach until someone shows it to us. Redemption, in this telling, looks like everyday mercy. It arrives in small practical acts and in a steady insistence that grace is not a reward for perfection. It is a gift to be accepted. If you are holding a similar story tonight, sit with this quiet truth. You do not have to earn the small kindness that comes. You do not have to climb out of the dark by sheer force. Let the idea of a gift rest in the hands like a small stone. Turn it slowly. Feel its edges. Accept that you may be offered help. you cannot quite justify. Take it. Let it ease one tight place at a time. Now gentle practice. If it helps, close the eyes. Place a hand lightly where the heart rests. Breathe in for 4 counts. Breathe out for 6. With each exhale, imagine a small gift placed on your palm. It is not labeled with conditions. It is simply there. Receive it. Let your shoulders drop a fraction. Let the jaw soften. Picture the friend's slow, steady steps toward repair. Let that picture be an example, not pressure. I read a short line from Ephesians in my heart as I close this part, that grace is given by faith, not by works, so that no one may boast. I do not unpack the theology. I offer the comfort. The comfort is simple. Mercy does not require deservedness. It asks only for a willing hand to receive. Rest with that for a few breaths. If sleep moves slowly, return to the notebook idea. Name one small act you did today. Write it down. Keep the page for later. Let the small lights of the day accumulate. They will steady the night. I end this part with a soft blessing. May grace meet you where you falter. May small kindness enter your life without fanfare. May rest come as a healing hand. May you find, like my friend, that redemption is a slow craft. Step toward the gift when it is offered. Let sleep receive you with mercy. Good night. The lamp is warm. The Bible lies open. I lift it and let the thin light touch the page. Tonight I read with a mindful slowness. Each word becomes a small step. The room listens. I speak quietly about presence. The idea is simple. Presence stays near in the hard places. It raps without noise. It does not scold. It comes like a hand laid on the shoulder. When the body trembles, I say these things aloud. The sound is soft and steady. The heart can follow it. A picture comes to mind. Imagine a hand at work in clay. The maker's fingers press and shape. Soft spots are smoothed. New lines form. The clay does not rush. The forming is careful. This is how God's hand often shows itself in life. The touch is practical. It is close. It is not a loud miracle, but a steady shaping. I think of my friend from the streetlight. He sits with me now in memory. He rests after a long season of small losses. The restoration he finds does not arrive all at once. It appears in tiny, faithful details. A neighbor brings soup. A stranger leaves a kind note. A routine meeting reads a short verse. These acts look human. They also feel like fingers on clay. Gentle and deliberate, I trace the line back and see a pattern. The pattern looks like care that could only come from beyond mere coincidence. When the night is heaviest, the presence feels like a cloak. It settles over the shoulders and keeps the cold light at bay. The cloak is not loud. It is soft. It breathes. It allows sleep. In the same way, restoration begins with small coverings. A quiet word of acceptance. A look that means it is okay to be weak. A cup of coffee at the precise moment it is needed. These are the moments where the hand of God is most visible to me. The timing is exact. The comfort is measurable in the loosening of the jaw and the easing of the breath. I notice the ways Providence moves, a bus that arrives on time when a plan needs rescue, a coin found in a pocket for a necessary snack, the sudden call from someone who happens to be free to listen. These little occurrences line up like stepping stones. Each stone is ordinary. Together they form a path that keeps a person from falling. I speak of these things slowly. Each sentence hangs, so the ear can find it. People often ask for signs. They expect thunder or sudden light. But the signs I know are quieter. A hand on the back when shame wants to harden into isolation. A friend who shows up without announcements. Food that appears at the right hour. A bed that becomes easier to sleep in. The finger is not pointing from heaven in a blaze. Instead, the hand is passing a warm blanket. I tell this because it soothes. It gives permission to look for presence in small mercies. Restoration, as I watch it, moves in layers. First comes safety, a place to rest, a couch or a chair where the body can drop its armor. The mind needs safety before repair begins. In my friend's case, safety came as simple off as a ride. A spare key, an open chair at a table. These practical things are like scaffolding. They support the person while the deeper work of healing takes place. I read a short passage from the Bible that speaks to this kind of care. The verse does not shout. It simply reassures that help comes near. Next comes acceptance. People do not repair what they hide. When an honest face meets regret, something loosens. Confession in this gentle setting is not a punishment. It is a placing of the burden where hands can take it. A voice that listens without tallying faults is a hand that can carry weight. I remind the listener to let such moments be received. Being seen without judgment is a healing itself. Then comes instruction, not heavy doctrine, practical habits that become anchors. A short verse read each morning, a walk before the day begins. A small notebook used to list one kind act from each day. These acts do not fix everything. They rewire the rhythm of living. The hand of God is evident in the formation of these patterns. A steady voice in the room reads scripture. The words light certain corners of the mind. They guide the first small steps back to steadiness. Mercy weaves through all of this. It is the thread that binds the stitches. Mercy arrives when mistakes are named, and then met with a hand that steadies rather than hurls blame. I describe mercy as a slow balm. It soothes the sharp edges. It does not erase memory. It eases the pain enough for patience to do its work. In the earlier nights, I spoke of stitches and gardeners. Those images return here because they fit. The hand that tends now is not distant. It is right there, helping with the small, deliberate motions of mending. I keep thinking of timing. Restoration often begins at the right hour. A counselor shows up in season. A friend speaks the exact word. A quiet verse drops into thought at a moment of panic and steadies the breath. These timings do not feel random. They feel orchestrated. The word orchestration can sound grand. I use it softly. The sense is that a careful mind orders small things. When many small items align, the effect resembles a single guiding hand. I speak of peace next. Peace comes by degrees. At first, it is a gap between heartbeats. Then it becomes a more lasting calm. The jaws unclench. Sleep deepens. When peace settles, it shows that the restoration is working. The hands that helped are still near. The offender and the injured both find ways to breathe. I read a passage on peace, slowly, and let it sink. The language is plain. The idea is that peace is evidence. It shows the presence of care that does not abandon in the night. Another sign I recognize is the return of small joys, a laugh at a minor joke, a liking for morning light, interest in a simple task. These small returns indicate that life is healing. It is tempting to ignore them in search of large proof. I advise to notice them. The little lights are progress markers. Each is a quiet signature of a hand at work. Restoration also invites response. When the gift of help is received, there is often a ripple. The healed hand reaches back to offer soup. Drive someone. Bring a verse. Service grows naturally from having been served. This is not about earning favor. It is about becoming part of the chain that carried aid forward. I find this movement deeply reassuring. It shows that God's presence is not merely given and then withdrawn. It circulates through people and keeps moving. I urge a small practice now for anyone listening. Close the eyes, if it helps. Place a hand lightly over the heart. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. With each exhale, picture a gentle hand smoothing a creased place. Imagine the hand resting there, not gripping but supporting. Let the image turn from a concept into a felt warmth. This practice is a way to feel the presence that I describe. It is simple. It is repeatable. If distress still feels loud, name one small thing that went right today. Say it softly. Keep the sentence short. This naming is not boasting. It is naming. It anchors the mind to reality. It helps the small stones in the river find a pattern again. Before I close tonight, I say this plainly. The hand of God is most visible where people meet need with compassion. The hand works through neighbors, through friends, through small habits formed in the quiet of the day. Sometimes the hand speaks directly into the heart and gives a sudden rest. Often it acts through the ordinary. Both ways are true. Both are kind. I read the last quiet line from the Bible tonight. The phrase is not loud. It is a soft tether. Let it hold the mind as sleep approaches. Mercy and presence are not rewards. They are ways to live. They are near in every small repair and in every steady breath. Now rest with that. Let the cloak settle. Allow the slow hand to smooth what is rough. Sleep is part of the mending. The morning will bring small tasks and small lights. The hand will still be there. Good night. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The room breathes with a soft, steady hush. I hold the Bible and let the paper whisper as I turn the page. Tonight the promise I choose is about peace. It is a peace that does not obey the rules of the brain. It rests beyond the list of reasons. It is a calm that arrives even when answers do not. I read to you before sleep. That is what I do here. The words I read are simple and slow. They are meant to land like soft stones. Each stone makes a gentle path across the water of a busy mind. The promise I offer tonight says this: there is a peace that guards the heart and the mind. It is not earned by tidy thinking. It comes as a gift. It keeps watch when worry circles like a bird. The first image is of a harbor at night. Boats drift with their lines cast loose. The water is dark but steady. The sky holds quiet stars. A lantern on the dock gives a calm circle of light. The harbor does not chase the wind. It receives it. That is the kind of peace I describe. It does not chase explanations. It receives the night. Now a chiedere image. Imagine lying on your back in a field after rain. The ground is cool. The air smells clean. Crickets make a steady count. The chest is not empty, but it is lighter. A peace comes that the mind cannot map. It simply rests like a blanket over the shoulders. The feeling is not complicated. It is only full. I read the Bible in that slow voice. I do not dissect sentences. I let the promise sit plain, a peace that surpasses understanding. The phrase is short in the ear. It does not demand a lecture. It gives space. It gives permission to stop wrestling with the night's questions for a while. Permission itself feels like an act of kindness. Practical steps follow. They are small and steady. First, place a hand where the heart rests. Keep the palm soft. The touch is a small anchor. It tells the body this is a safe moment. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Breathe out for 6 counts. Do this slowly and without strain. The longer exhale helps the nervous system notice that nothing urgent is required. Second, name one worry. Very briefly. Give it a single word. Say the word once in the mind. Do not spin it. Place it on an imagined table in the middle of the room. Picture the table as sturdy. See the worry as a small bundle set down. That small movement creates distance. Distance lets the mind soften. Third, imagine a gentle guard standing beside the table. The guard is not a judge. The guard is a watcher. It keeps the table from tipping. The guard's presence is the peace that guards the heart. You do not need to argue with the guard. You simply let the guard hold the weight for a while. I also offer a breathing image. Picture a slow tide. Each inhale is the tide coming in. Each exhale is the tide going out. The tide does not rush. It keeps order. Match the breath to the tide. Let the rhythm be the night's lullaby. After a few cycles, the chest finds a steadier beat. The mind follows. If the thoughts come back, use this small practice. Name one kind thing done today. Keep it faint and true. Let the memory be like a candle on a table. The candle does not fight the dark. It simply burns a steady light. Notice the warmth. Let it move through the chest. The small warmth is proof that peace is working in little ways. I speak about trust with softness. Trust is not the absence of doubt. Trust is the willingness to rest, even while questions remain. It is the decision to let sleep do some of the work. The heart hands over what it cannot solve tonight. The mind can wait until morning. That waiting is not defeat. It is mercy. Mercy and peace belong together. Mercy meets tender places. Peace covers circulating fear. One quiet example A brief apology left unsaid can haunt the hour, instead of chasing replay after replay. Name it, set it on the table, breathe, and imagine trust taking its place for the night. The act is small and honest. It makes room for repair later. I read a short passage slowly now. The words are not a command. They are a promise that a kind presence keeps watch. Hear the rhythm more than the line. Let the cadence be the thread you follow into rest. The sentence says that peace is a guard. Let that guard stand at the border of sleep and keep the night's anxieties from trespassing too far. There is a gentle exercise to close the eyes with. Visualize a small pond with flat stones. Each breath places one stone on the water. The stones do not sink. They steady the surface. With each stone, a bit of noise falls away. When the hand has set down 5 stones, notice the stillness between them. Rest there, like a light on the water. Now, a prayer of 2 or 3 simple lines. I keep it spare. Ask for the peace that guards the heart. Ask for mercy to meet the night. These words are not elaborate. They are like setting a cup on the nightstand. The gesture matters more than eloquence. If sleep still resists, return to the harbor image. Picture that lantern on the dock. Imagine walking toward it at a slow pace. Each step is a breath. Do not hurry. The harbor holds you as you draw near. Let the small circle of light become a place to alight for the night. I remind you gently that peace does not require solving everything. Sometimes the work is to allow rest while healing continues. Sleep is part of the mending. The promise of peace is not a quick fix. It is a steady presence that walks with you through the dark. Let it keep Fihil beside you now. Before I close this part, I offer a small suggestion for morning. Keep a little notebook and a pen by the bed. In the morning, write one small sign of rest you noticed. Perhaps the jaw unclenched. Perhaps you woke once, but returned to sleep. These small notes become evidence of mercy. They build confidence slowly. The peace of tonight gets a chance to become the peace of a pattern. I read one final line from the Bible. Simply and slowly. It is a reminder that peace is a guard for both heart and mind. Let that guard stand between you and the night's loudness. It does not remove the questions. It keeps them from unmaking you in the dark. Place the hand on the chest again, if it feels right. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. Let the last exhale be an offering of what you cannot carry tonight. Lay it on the table. Imagine the guard taking it into a steady watch. The lamp's light is low. The room grows softer. The Bible closes with a gentle sound. I stay seated in the hush for a few heartbeats. The promise of peace rests with you now. Ready to guard the night. Let the breath slow. Let the body soften. Let the mind rest within the circle of that quiet promise. Good night. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The Bible opens easily. The chair holds the weight of the day. I sit and let the room breathe. Tonight's promise is trust. Tonight, I invite a gentle turning toward a plan that is larger than the moment. I read a short passage. It speaks of plans that look ahead. The words say there is a future shaped with care. The phrase is simple and kind. It does not promise instant clearing of the sky. It promises direction and hope. Trusting a plan is not the same as having a neat map. A plan feels like a horizon. It is a line that keeps the eye from losing its way. The road can be winding. The curve does not mean absence of guidance. It means there is more to the route than one step can show. Picture a long road at early dawn. Mist lies low in the fields. The road bends and disappears for a moment. A faint light rises behind the trees. The bend need not frighten the walker. The light exists and will return. That light is the promise of a future that holds meaning. Trust agrees to take a slow step toward it. There is no rush here. Trust is patient. It learns the season. The farmer's work shows this well. Seed goes into the earth in a morning that can feel ordinary. Months later, grain stands tall. The waiting is full of small, steady labor. The plan does not happen all at once. It grows in time. The heart that trusts allows the slow shaping. I read another short line. It speaks of hope built into the plan. Hope is not a demand for instant joy. It is a quiet confidence that the story continues. The phrase makes room for today's small losses and tomorrow's better light. Hope holds both the ache of the night and the promise of morning. If worry tightens the chest, use a small practice now. Name one fear as one word. Place that word on an imagined table in the center of the room. Picture a map beside it. The map is simple. It has a marked horizon and arrows that turn gently toward it. Notice how the worry rests there beside the map. It does not have to be carried alone. Breathing helps the hands loosen. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 6 counts. Let each exhale be a small surrender. With each out-breath, picture a tiny step forward on the map. Not a leap, a small, honest step. Repeat until the shoulders settle. Trust is often a choice made in small acts. Tonight, one small act might be to write a single hope for tomorrow on a scrap of paper. Keep the line short. Fold the paper and place it near the bedside lamp. The act is simple. It does not fix everything. It trains the hands to point in a direction beyond immediate fear. Another quiet practice is to recall one past moment where help arrived unexpectedly. It might be a phone call, a timely word, a coin found in a pocket, a meal brought at the right hour. Remember the detail. Let the memory be a witness that a larger plan moves in ordinary ways. These small proofs gather in the mind like stones. They steady the foot. I keep the voice slow as I read. Now, the words on the page speak of plans that hope for good. They do not promise a life without pain. They promise that pain will not have the final word. That promise is not a demand of the mind. It is a balm for the night. Prayer can be spare and immediate. A brief sentence in the heart will do. Say, quietly guide this step. Make the request small and clear. The prayer does not have to explain the whole mess. It hands over the next step and trusts the rest will be cued by a patient hand. There is also room tonight for accepting mystery. Not everything will make sense before dawn. Some doors open only after long seasons. The act of accepting mystery is not giving up. It is the humble stance of someone who cannot see around the corner. but chooses to keep walking. This posture is itself an act of faith. Trust ties closely to patience. Patience is not passive. It is an active waiting. The active part often looks like staying with practical things. Keep a tiny routine. A short walk in the morning. A glass of water beside the bed. A verse, read slowly, when the coffee is warm. These small practices do more than fill hours. They root the heart in a rhythm that can hold the slow unfolding of a plan. If the night brings heavy questions, try a brief exercise. Imagine the future as a garden with paths. Each path bends and meets other paths. Some portions are shaded, others bathe in sun. Place one foot on a path and feel the earth under it. You do not need to see the whole garden. Notice the one step and the ground that supports it. The presence of solid ground is enough to continue. Mercy is woven through this trust. The plan that brings hope does not expect perfection. It gives space for stumbles. Mercy covers the missteps and leaves room to rise again. This truth softens the urge to measure worth by flawless performance. The night allows gentleness. Accept it. I read a phrase about peace that guards the heart and mind. The line follows the thought of trust. Peace is not the absence of questions. It is a gentle watch. Let that peace stand near tonight. Let it hold a small light over the bedside table when anxiety circles like a restless bird. Imagine that peace stretching a net under the bird's flight. It does not stop the motion, but it keeps the bird from hitting sharp things. If sleep resists, return to the map on the table. Revisit the small hope written on the scrap of paper. Fold it again and smooth the crease with a thumb. Let the gesture be a promise to the night. A single step will be taken in the morning. The simplicity of the promise matters. It trains the will to trust again. There is comfort in community for the trust journey. Small acts by others often form the strings that guide a person into a future. Be open to such help. Receive a meal. Arride. A short message. These are not burdens on the giver. They are the hands by which plans get made real. Allow the receiving to be part of the trusting. As the breathing slows, imagine the plan like a river that carries a boat. The boat is modest. It takes small oars. The river does not push the boat recklessly. It moves steadily. Trust means letting the oars fall into rhythm and allowing the river to bear some of the work. The river is not indifferent. It has a course. It moves toward a sea that holds a wider future than one night can show. Now a short, plain benediction. May the quiet hope of a future you cannot yet see rest like a hand on the shoulder. May peace guard the heart and the mind as you sleep. May small acts of trust tomorrow begin the gentle shaping of a tomorrow that is kinder than today. I will read a verse slowly in my heart as the lamp softens. Let the sound be a small tether. The Bible closes with a soft sound. The lamp lowers its glow. Hands unclench. A page of hope lies folded by the bedside. Breathe in once more. Breathe out and let go. The night will do its work. The morning will bring a new small step. Good night. The lamp keeps its soft circle. The Bible warms under my hand. I let the pages flutter and settle. The room listens. Breath finds a slow pattern. Tonight I read from Isaiah with a patient voice. The passage I hold pictures a God who does not tire. It speaks of a strength that is given, not earned. It paints an image of those who wait, who hope, who look toward the Maker and receive new life. I read the lines with care. The phrases land like quiet stones. The heart of the message is simple. Strength comes again. Courage can be given when the body is weary and the spirit is small. A new morning can bring fresh power. The words do not promise an instant fix. They promise renewal in time. They say that hope is not a one-time spark, but a steady source that refills the soul. Picture an eagle in the morning. It rides the warm currents that lift it. The wings do not strive to fly from nothing. The bird uses the wind that is already moving beneath it. The eagle rises without frantic beating. This is the kind of renewing I speak of. The help that comes is not a push from behind, but a wind beneath quiet. Strong. Steady. If worry holds the jaw tight tonight, name one small fear. Place it on a paper beside the lamp. Fold the paper once. Set it down. This small act does not solve everything. It creates a space where a different kind of courage can begin. That courage grows not by forcing thought, but by receiving care. I offer a short practice. Now, breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold gently for 1. Breathe out for 6. Let each out-breath be an offering of the day's effort. With each exhale, imagine a small weight sliding from the shoulders. With each inhale, picture a cool, steady breeze under the wings. Repeat this cycle 5 times. The rhythm is quiet work. It trains the heart to accept that help can arrive through a pattern as small as a breath. Think of tomorrow as a blank page that already holds a horizon. The page does not demand the whole story tonight. A single line is enough. Write one small hope for the morning. It can be a small thing. Drink a glass of water before getting up. Read a single verse. Take a 5-minute walk. Send one message that has waited. Fold the paper and leave it by the bedside. The act of naming one tiny hope steadies the hand. It turns anxiety toward a single, doable step. Courage often looks quieter than imagined. It may be one more breath before answering a hard call. It might be a slow step toward a person with whom reconciliation feels risky. Sometimes courage is setting a limit that protects rest. Other times, it is the willingness to ask for help. The promise in Isaiah does not erase fear. It places a new strength beside it, a partner for the small steps. There are practical ways to let that strength arrive. Prepare the next day in a gentle way. Lay out a shirt or a sweater. Fill a glass of water. Put a note on the door with a single reminder. These small preparations are not frantic attempts to control tomorrow. They are little signals to the body and mind that the morning can be met. They build a rhythm that the steadier strength can use. If sleep will not come, imagine a dawn sky unrolling. Colors move slowly from deep to pale. The same wind that lifts the eagle moves across fields and rooftops. Stand with the image for a few breaths. Let the light warm the chest. This is not a command to cheer up. It is a gentle reminder that mornings bring new openings. A tired mind need not solve everything tonight. Tomorrow has space. We also practice a brief gratitude exercise for encouragement. Name one small mercy from today. Say it quietly in the mind. It could be a cup of warm tea, a timely word, a task completed. A brief moment of quiet. Let that memory sit like a pebble in your palm. Turn it slowly. Notice how small mercies add up. They become a seam of steady light through the darker hours. Courage grows when it is practiced in tiny measures. Choose one small act for tomorrow that asks for a bit of bravery. Maybe it is a short apology. Maybe it is a 2-minute phone call to check in on someone. Maybe it is stepping outside for fresh air before the day begins. Keep the step small and clear. Small courage adds up to more boldness over time. I speak now of dependence as a gentle posture. Dependence does not strip dignity. It places the need where help can meet it. Like a child who lifts a hand to a parent, asking to be carried across a busy street. The act expresses trust. The promise of Isaiah invites such a dependence. It says help is present for those who look. That looking is not passive. It is an honest act that opens the hands to receive. Rest tonight is part of the plan. Sleep is not a pause from faith. It is a practice of trust. Let the blanket be a sign of receiving. Let the breath steady. Let the eyes soften. The night does its own work of repair. Muzzles kniet. Thoughts untangle. The quiet that comes is not wasted time. It is the preparation for courage in the morning. If burdens feel too heavy to place on a bedside table, imagine them beside a river. Lay each one slowly on a leaf. Watch the leaf float away. Do this in the mind for a few worries. The river does not solve all matters at once, but it carries what can rest until morning. Often by sunrise, problems look different. The sharpness dulls. Options appear. A small courage that was not available at midnight may be ready with first light. There is a tender way to invite community into tomorrow. If one quiet message could help, send it before sleep. Tell a friend a simple plan for the morning. Ask someone to join a short walk or to meet for coffee. Shared steps reduce the load and enlarge courage. The morning is kinder when it is met with another person's hand. Now, a short prayer in the heart, brief and plain. Ask for strength for tomorrow. Ask for courage for the small steps. Ask that the morning bring openings, even where doors feel closed tonight. Keep the words tidy. Let them be a small lantern placed beside the bed. I read one more gentle line from Isaiah again. This time only in my heart, strength is renewed. Wings lift. Running continues without exhaustion. Hear that as a promise that travels through the night, it does not demand a sudden transformation. It assures that a renewed capacity waits with the dawn. Close the eyes for a moment. If that helps, place a hand softly on the chest. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. Let the last exhale release the need to carry tomorrow to night. Lay the folded paper with the one small hope where it will be seen in the morning. Let sleep be an ally, not an enemy. I place my bookmark in the Bible and close the cover slowly. The lamp dims a fraction. The chamber keeps its hush. Let the sense of renewed strength rest like a small gift at the bedside. When the morning comes, take the one small step. Trust the quiet power that moves like wind under wings. It will meet the day's needs with steady courage. Good night. The lamp throws a small pool of light. The room listens. The Bible rests open in my lap. I read to you before sleep. Tonight, the theme is gentle and plain. It is the strength of being vulnerable. I begin slowly. The words I read do not argue. They offer a steady truth. Paul says that God's power is shown most clearly where people are weak. I do not unpack doctrine. I simply hold the sentence like a small lantern. Let it warm the hands. Vulnerability is not an exposure to be punished. It is a clearing where help can enter. Imagine a cracked clay pot on a windowsill. Light comes through the crack. The pot does not become less useful because it is cracked. The light that leaks in makes the room kinder. That is the image I bring tonight. I invite you to notice one small place of weakness. It may be a tired heart, a fear that arrives with night, a hand that feels too small for the work. Say its name softly in the mind. The act of naming is not a confession to shame. It is a way to let the wound be seen. Often there is a rush to hide what feels broken. The habit is old, but hiding keeps help away. When the heart is honest, other hands can reach. A friend can listen. A mercy can hold. God's power, the text says, finds room to work in that honesty. The power is not a harsh fix. It is a steady mending. I tell a small story from days that are not far. In a season of quiet strain, I found my hands clenched at night. The jaw was tight. Sleep slipped away. I tried to be brave alone. The attempt wore thin. One evening I sat with the Bible and let the phrase about strength and weakness rest in my chest. I did not feel instant change. I only opened my palm and asked for help. The next day someone called and offered a small kindness. It was ordinary. It was necessary. The pattern matters. Vulnerability opened the door. This opening happens in tiny ways. Ask for help with one small thing. Name one need to a trusted friend. Send a brief message. Let a neighbor know if a day feels heavy. The motion is not showy. It is practical. It creates a human link. Help travels best by small hands. There is also a quiet discipline in vulnerability. It is not about oversharing. It is about honest sharing. Choose one person who listens without tallying faults. Practice saying one short, true thing. Keep the sentence small. Let the breath follow it. The practice trains the chest to unclench. A short exercise now. If it helps, sit or lie easily. Place a hand where the heartbeat is most felt. Breathe in for 4 counts. Breathe out for 6. As the breath moves out, imagine a small weight leaving the shoulders. With the next inhale, picture a soft presence settling in like a cloak. Repeat 5 times. Each cycle loosens the grip on shame. Each slow breath makes room for mercy. Vulnerability also invites boundaries. Saying you are weary is honest. Saying you cannot do everything is brave. Boundaries protect the frail parts so they can be tended. They are not signs of failure. They are tools of care. Practice one small boundary tomorrow. Maybe it is a brief no. Maybe it is a later time for a difficult conversation. Let the boundary be an act of preservation, not punishment. For those who find it hard to speak, Writing is a gentle bridge. Keep a small notebook by the bedside. Tonight write one short line, the place where I need help is. Then fold the paper and set it near the lamp. The paper is a witness that the need exists. It frees the mind from carrying the whole load through the night. In the morning, the paper can guide a single step. When vulnerability is offered, mercy often answers with ordinary things. A warm cup, an unhuritsit, a hand that rests without advice. These acts do not erase the struggle. They hold it. Let small mercies be the first proof that weakness does not mean being abandoned. There is a danger to watch for. Vulnerability can be misunderstood as permission to stay stuck. The call here is tenderness that leads to repair. Admit the need. Receive the help. Then take one small step toward mending. The steps are simple. They are patient. They repeat. I also speak of prayer in a simple way. Prayer is not a demand for a miracle. It is a placing of truth in a steady hand. Tonight, whisper a humble request in the heart. Ask for the courage to be honest. Ask for strength where you are weak. The prayer can be one line. The prayer can be in silence. The important thing is the motion of giving the truth away from the clenched grip. If fear of judgment rises, remember that grace meets the honest heart. Grace does not size up accomplishments. It notices the person who opens the door. The phrase I read again is the same power shows up most clearly in places of weakness. This is not a list of conditions. It is a promise that help can enter where pretense cannot. There is a tender image I use often. Think of a lantern lowered into a dark room. The light does not erase the darkness in a single sweep. Instead, it moves carefully across corners. It finds things that look worse in the dark. It shows them plainly and gives the eye time to see what to do. Vulnerability is that opening. It brings light so repair can begin. A short practical plan for the morning helps stabilize the night. Choose one small act to do when the day starts. Maybe it is a 5-minute walk. Maybe it is a phone call to a friendly voice. Maybe it is reading one verse slowly. Keep it tiny. The plan is a tangible hope. It tells the mind there is a next step beyond the ache. Be ready for the modest pace of mending. Weakness does not vanish in dramatic ways. It softens. It changes shape. The power that meets it is often a long, patient presence rather than a sudden strike. Expect small returns, clearer sleep. A softened jaw. A morning where tasks feel less heavy. Each small change is evidence that the promise is at work. When vulnerability is resisted, practice a small reroute. Place the named thing on an imaginary bench in the room. See it there, without clutching. Imagine hands coming to lift it. These hands do not hurry. They do not scold. They only take what will be carried. The image trains the mind to let go. I read a short line in the Bible again. Slowly, the sentence stays like a low bell. It does not demand explanation. It gives assurance that where the heart is weak, a steadier strength arrives. Let the sound sit on the chest like a warm hand. Before I close, one small act for tonight. If a fear or need wakes the mind later, return to the breath exercise. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. Place the hand where the heart rests. Say one small true sentence, I need help. Keep it geared. Let it be a bridge, not a burden. There is a final blessing to leave with you. May the courage to be honest find a soft place to land. May help come in small, steady ways. May mercy meet the places that ache. Rest with the sure promise that God's strength is present where human strength fails. The Bible closes softly. The lamp grows gentler. The breath finds its slow rhythm. Let vulnerability be a gentle door tonight. Step through when you are ready. The night holds space for small honesty and for healing that follows. Good night. The lamp throws a small circle of light. The Bible rests on my lap. The room keeps a slow hush. I read to you before sleep. Tonight I tell a story about a family hand held out in need. It is a quiet story. It is a true one. It moves like a soft tide. Years ago, a sister grows thin with worry. Her face tightens around small fears. A doctor's note sits on the kitchen table. The diagnosis is not gentle. The household leans in. Nights are shorter. Mornings come heavy. Hope feels like a thread pulled thin. I do not begin with a dramatic rescue. The first help is small. A neighbor drops a casserole at the door. The dish is warm. The steam opens the kitchen like a gentle exhale. That single act makes the day softer. Food is practical. It is also love given without question. A phone call follows. A cousin offers to drive to appointments. A young friend offers to sit through a waiting room hour. A pastor brings a few words from the Bible and the soft presence of prayer. None of these actions shout. They arrive with the quiet persistence of rain on a roof. They keep the house from becoming a place of collapse. At home, the sister sits in a chair and listens while I read from the Bible. I pick a small passage, one that breathes mercy rather than insisting on answers. The words are slow. They land like warm stones. Each phrase gives a small place to rest. The reading does not fix the sickness. It pieces a corner of calm into the day. The doctor's report stays in the drawer. Still, a nurse appears, who is more than a name on a chart. The nurse sits down at the bed and listens without rushing. Her hands are steady. She tucks a blanket around the knees as if tending to a child. The touch is careful and ordinary. It soothes in a way that science and machines cannot measure. Money becomes tight. Bills arrive like small storms. A former neighbor from years past sends an envelope with a check. There is no sermon attached. The gift is practical. It keeps a light from going out. The family does not deserve it as if merit is the rule. The help comes freely. It arrives like grace in action. One night, the sister wakes with a fear that will not let her rest. I take the Bible and sit at the bedside. I read slowly, not to answer every why, but to steady the breath. The words do their small work. The room grows a little quieter. The jaw unclenches by degrees. Sleep comes like a small tide. Healing in this story does not look like a sudden cure. It looks like a slow knitting together. Appointments are kept. Medication helps. Hands arrive to drive and cook. Conversations happen in the kitchen late at night. Sorrow is named. Tears are shed over a sink while dishes soak. Laughter returns in small doses, a short shared memory. A silly image. A cup of tea that is just right. A particular afternoon stands out. Rain mists the windows. An old neighbor, who used to mend bicycles in a garage, shows up with a small quilt. The quilt is made of odd squares. Each square came from shirts or cloth saved over time. The mender says, the quilt has no design other than usefulness. It is soft and warm. It smells of soap and long work. The sister pulls the quilt over her shoulders. The fabric breathes against the skin. Relief is not dramatic. It is the steady heat of a human hand. Through this season, simple rhythms form. A short verse gets read each morning. A walk around the block becomes a scaffolding of progress. The family learns to accept offers. Requests become small. A ride here. A casserole there. A hand to hold during a late-night worry. These small acceptances are not weakness. They are the way life gets mended. I watch where help comes from. Sometimes it comes from people we expect. Sometimes it comes from strangers. A grocery clerk offers a discount one afternoon without explanation. A co-worker quietly covers a shift. Small kindnesses gather until a path appears where the house once felt like an island. Divine intervention in this story is not a single spectacle. It is a collection of small, faithful things. The Bible reading at the bedside is one piece. The neighbor with the quilt is another. Finance that arrives when needed is another. Each act feels human and tender. Together they form a web that holds a person steady. There are nights when fear returns. A test result is harder than hoped. Worry will creep in. Then the family returns to the small practices. They gather at the table. They read a short passage. They name one thing that gives thanks. They breathe. These tiny rituals repeat like stitches. The repetition mends what the day frays. I remember the way mercy shows up in small gestures. A friend refuses to let an apology be long delayed. A child brings a hand-drawn card with uneven letters. The card is clumsy and beautiful. The simple drawing sits on the bedside table like a small sun. It melts a corner of worry by being wholly unimportant and wholly needed. The pace of recovery is not a straight line. There are setbacks. A fever returns. A mood darkens. Yet the house has learned to receive help. Offers do not have to be judged for worthiness. They are simply accepted. This willingness becomes a saving pattern. Help moves through the household like a gentle wind. One late evening, a surgeon speaks in measured sentences. The operation goes as planned. No trumpet sounds. No grand revelation. Instead, something more tender arrives. The sister wakes in a recovery room. The lights are soft. A hand holds hers. A quiet piece of scripture is paraphrased over the hum of the machines. The words wrap around her like the small quilt. Later, in a guitar room at home, I read again from the Bible. The room listens. The sister sleeps. The breathing is even. The voice slows. I do not promise that every fear will vanish. I do promise that mercy finds ways to enter. The mercy might come as a hand, a dish, a coin, a quilt, or a steady voice reading scripture at night. The form is not the point. The presence is. Nurturing is the heart of this tale. The image that lingers most is hands. Hands that cook. hands that drive, hands that hold a Bible and turn its pages slowly, hands that mend a quilt, human hands bearing care. God's care often moves by hand through neighbors and strangers. It arrives as a practical kindness and as a soothing voice. There is a lesson that the family learns in small increments. Vulnerability becomes a door, not a hole. Opening the need invites others to care. The asking does not show failure. It creates community. The household grows by letting others fill small spaces. A home becomes a harbor. I invite you to hold this story like the quilt image, picture patches sewn into each other. Some colors are bright, others are faded. The seams are visible. The quilt does not hide its history. It shows where thread crossed and where hands work slowly. The pattern is beauty made from repair. Before sleep, a simple practice in the room helps. Place a hand where warmth rests in the chest. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out deliberately. Think of one small act received today. Let the memory be enough. The act need not be large. It only needs to be true. Let gratitude be the quiet companion to rest. As the story closes, remember that divine intervention often looks like neighbors with casseroles. It looks like quilts and phone calls and bills quietly covered. It looks like a Bible read softly at a bedside. The interventions are practical and tender. They do not always answer every question. They steady the steps long enough for repair to begin. I close the Bible with a soft movement. The lamp keeps a gentle glow. The room breathes slower. Mercy and hope sit like a warm weight on the chest. Let the night finish what the day begins. Let sleep be part of the healing. Good night. The lamp settles into its soft circle. The Bible opens in my lap. The room inhales. I place my hand on the page and breathe in with it. The sound of paper is small. The rhythm is slow. I read a short passage that speaks of rest. I do not explain. I let the sentence sit like a small stone on the chest. The meaning is simple. Rest is not earned by toil. It is offered. The thought lands quiet and clear. Listen with me. Hear the words as a promise laid over the night. Imagine a wide, gentle hand held above a pillow. The hand is steady. It does not shake. It keeps watch. The image is plain. It is enough. God watching is not a heavy surveillance. It is a hush of care. Think of a watchman who does not shout. He walks slowly along the wall and counts the houses with calm eyes. He knows where every window is. He knows the names of the people who sleep beneath the roofs. His steps are steady. They make no alarm. They make safety. And you picture now. Picture being under a soft canopy. Stars shine above. They are constant, but not harsh. The canopy filters the cold. It keeps out the rough wind. Beneath it, the body can relax. The mind can stop collecting reasons to stay alert. The canopy is a sign that someone keeps watch over rest itself. There is a heavenliness to this watching. It feels like a lullaby sung far off. The notes are not loud. They are like a bell under water. Shapes blur. The heart slows. The lullaby does not demand proof. It simply keeps time with breathing. If fear comes back around, name it in one quiet word. Place that word on the bedside table in the mind. Do not chase it. Let it sit there. Now, picture a hand sliding a small cloth over the word. The cloth is calm and known. It is the hand that watches. It does not shame the fear. It keeps it from waking the whole house. I guide a breath with you. Breathe in gently for 4 counts. Hold for 1. Breathe out for 6. Let the out-breath be long and easy. As the exhale leaves the body, imagine a small weight lowering from the shoulders. Repeat 3 times. The rhythm is a small tide. The tide makes room for sleep. The assurance of heavenly rest has a quiet logic. It says that night is not aimless. It is not a place where everything is left to shape itself without care. Night is a room where care continues in different hands. A hand that works in daylight tends in other ways by night. The promise is that watching continues, even when the eyes that watch close. I keep this gentle. There is no need to solve every worry. Let tomorrow own its own tasks. Tonight's work is different. It is the work of allowing the body to receive what has already been offered. Lay the chest back. Allow the ribs to open. Let the breath be the messenger that brings the gift inside. Imagine a ledger that keeps careful notes. The record is not a list of accusations. It is more like a map of care. Items are not tallied for punishment. They are remembered as places where help should come. The mapping is kind. It knows the small things you dread. It sends help there like a lamp to a corner. Think of angels not as distant figures, but as small couriers. They do modest work. They do not perform to impress. They pass through doors and bring a warm cup. They stand quietly at the foot of a bed. Their presence is not a show. It is a steadying of the air. The idea comforts without flamboyance. If questions rise about whether you are allowed this rest, answer them with a single sentence in the heart. Rest is given. Say it slowly. Let the words fall like a soft cloth over a lamp. The claim is not a theological argument. It is a bedside fact. You can accept it without proof. Here is a small practice to close the evening. Place a hand where the heart beats. Keep the pressure light. Name 1 small kindness you received this day. A single item will do. Hold that memory like a candle. Watch how the flame makes the room seem less severe. The memory does not fix the whole story. It makes the present softer enough to sleep. Now, a tiny act for the morning. Fold a scrap of paper with 1 hope on it. Keep the sentence simple. 1 small step. Lay the paper on the nightstand. The little ceremony trains the mind to believe in continuations. It creates an invitation for morning rather than an urgency for the night. I read to you before bed because words trained in kindness change the shape of sleep. They slow the thinking that wants to race. They hold a place in the dark that fears often try to occupy. When the voice is slow and steady, it shows the night a pattern it can trust. Do not imagine that rest means forgetting. Memory can keep its place, while rest does its work. The night does a sort of repair. It does not erase, but it softens. Tend the body to let it heal. Let the mind find a quiet corner. The heart can breathe again. There are concrete signs of this heavenly watching. A sudden easing in the jaw. A long exhale that marks the first release in an hour. The ability to close the eyes without rehearsing the next day's agenda. Notice these small returns. They are evidence. They are like small lights blinking on a long line of bulbs. If sleep still wanders, picture a small harbour lamp mirrored in calm water. The light is a witness. It keeps count of the boats without causing them to panic. Let the reflection be a steady thing to look at in the mind. The reflection is enough to anchor thought when it drifts. A short, geared prayer now. Ask. In a single line, keep watch over this night. Keep the prayers spare. Let the single sentence hang like a small charm. It needs no length. It needs only honesty. Remember also to accept help when it comes. Sometimes watching happens through other hands. A text that reads a kind line. A neighbor who leaves a small supper. A friend who offers to pray. These are the human ways heaven often works. Receive them without measuring worth. They are gifts, not transactions. I close with an image of rest, as Sabbath at the bedside. Sabbath is not a task. It is a handing over. Lay the day down like a garment. Fold it gently. Place it where it can be mended. Let the night wear a different kind of watch. Let mercy keep the hours. The Bible closes softly now. The pages meet. The lamp hums low. My voice stays quiet for a few slow heartbeats. Sleep is welcome. Mercy watches. Hope is near like a small lantern. Rest while someone keeps watch. Good night. The lamp keeps its small circle. The Bible rests open in my lap. I read the words slowly, as I always do. The room listens. The breath finds a steady pace. Tonight I bring a quiet thought about keeping close ties. I think of how tender the heart feels when a wrong is mended. I think of how light it becomes when a grudge is released. Forgiveness is a small gate. It opens a way back toward peace. I begin by reading a short passage that reminds me of peace in the night. I do not lecture. I let the sentence rest on the ear. It says, plainly, that sleep comes easier when the heart is not burdened by a held offense. The picture soothes. A cam settles like a blanket. I ask you to picture a table. On this table lie two small bowls. One bowl holds the hurt. The other holds the goodwill that remains. However faint, they sit side by side. The act of forgiveness is a motion that moves something from the hurt bowl toward the goodwill bowl. It need not be a flood. Often it is a single grain at first. To offer forgiveness. Start small. Name the hurt in one short phrase. Keep it simple. Do not argue the whole story in your head tonight. Say only enough to know what you hold. Naming clears a space. It makes the knot visible. Next, feel the feeling without rushing it. Anger, sorrow, shame. Let them be present for a moment. They are not enemies to be destroyed at once. They are signals. Breathe with them. The breath becomes a way to notice, not to be consumed. Then imagine the offending moment as a small stone. Hold it in the palm of your mind. Feel its weight for a single breath. Then offer it to the steady hand that keeps watch. This is not a magic trick. It is a gesture. The hand might be your picture of God. It might be the name you use for the steady presence that watches the night. The motion is an act of relinquishing control long enough to rest. If offering forgiveness feels too large, try this practical practice. Write a single sentence. Keep it short. It can be a line like, "I release this hurt for tonight." Fold the paper and place it on the bedside table. The folded slip is a promise to yourself. It is a small ceremony. The knight need not carry the whole fight. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean condoning harm. Sometimes, forgiving another person means choosing not to return the blow. It may still mean setting safe boundaries. Forgiveness can live alongside care for the self. Let that be a gentle rule, tender to others, careful with the heart. Reconciliation is a related gift. It takes two willing hands. It may not be possible right away. Sometimes, the person who caused pain cannot or will not come near. That fact can hurt. Hold the pain with honesty. You may offer forgiveness without reconciliation. The gesture matters. It reflects a love that will not keep tally. When reconciliation is possible and safe, start with a small offering. A brief note, a short, honest line. No long justifications, no replays. The note can say simply that you remember and that you are willing, in time, to speak. Keep the tone soft. Let the first move be a pebble, not a boulder. Gentle motions tend fragile things better. I read a passage once that pictured peace as a guard. The guard stands between the sleeping heart and the night's louder fears. When forgiveness is offered, that guard can relax its watch a little. The chest can rise and fall without as much tension. That change is real and small and steady. Practice a breathing pattern as you do this. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold gently for 2. Exhale for 6. Let the longer exhale carry the weight of the anger away. Repeat the cycle 5 times. With each out-breath, imagine the burden loosening its grip. Feel the shoulders lower. Notice the jaw unclench. A quiet prayer helps. Keep it spare. Name the hurt in one phrase. Ask for a softening of the heart toward both justice and mercy. Ask for wisdom about the next small step. The prayer is not a demand for immediate transformation. It is a handing over of a matter too heavy to manage tonight. If you are the one who needs to ask forgiveness, take a small step. Prepare only one honest sentence for tomorrow. Keep it short. Speak it with humility. Do not defend. Do not explain at length. Offer the simple truth of regret. Let the person receive it in their own time. Sometimes the opening you offer is enough to begin a different path. When a relationship is mended, notice the ordinary signs. A conversation that lasts without a clash. A shared cup of tea that does not end in sharpness. A laugh that comes back after a long quiet. These small moments are the stitches of reconciliation. They do not erase the past. They build a new pattern for the future. I have watched how reconnection reflects a love that is patient. It is not loud. It is steady. People sometimes expect a dramatic reunion. More often, it is a series of small returns. A neighbor drops off a pie. A cousin calls with a short memory. A friend reads a line from the Bible, with no agenda. These acts are soft hands that make living possible again. Mercy walks with forgiveness and reconciliation. Mercy meets the damaged places without tallying faults. It is practical and present. Mercy brings food. Mercy makes space. Mercy speaks simply and listens more. Where mercy is present, relationships breathe easier. The love of God can be seen in those daily mercies. There will be nights when the hurt feels fresh again. Old wounds have a way of brightening when stars appear. If that happens, do the small practices again. Name the feeling. Breathe. Place the sentence on the table. Fold it. Let sleep take the rest. Repetition matters. Each small act of offering loosens the hold of the past. A useful habit for mourning is to plan one small act of repair, not a confession that unravels everything. One small, concrete thing, a text to check in, a loaf of bread to share, a 5-minute call to say you are thinking of them. Small things build trust more than grand promises. I also suggest a companion practice, a list of 3 grateful memories in the same relationship. They need not be large. A shared joke, a time they sat with you, a moment kindness arrived. Keep the list gentle. Read it slowly in the morning. The gratitude does not cancel the pain. It widens the memory so that both hurt and goodness can live together. If forgiveness feels impossible, do not force it tonight. Begin instead with the decision to try. Say in the heart, I will try to offer this in time. Place the attempt on the bedside table. The willingness is itself an act of hope. Hope often precedes feeling. Trust the small surrender to shape the heart slowly. I read to you before sleep, because words can change the shape of the night. The Bible speaks not only of rules, but of a life that is repaired by mercy. When relationships find their way back, they reflect that love in quiet ways. A forgiving act shows a mirror of God's patience. Reconciliation echoes the steady kindness that watches us as we sleep. Before I close, practice one last breath with me. Place a hand over the place where the heart rests. Breath in for 4. Hold briefly. Breathe out for 6. As you exhale, imagine placing the hurt gently on the table. Imagine offering the small paper you folded. Know that the night will hold the motion. Sleep can do what the day cannot. It can steady things enough for repair. Make one small plan for morning. A note. Akol. A cup of coffee. A small offering of kindness. Keep it tiny. Let it be the first brick. Let the rest come slowly. I close the Bible with a soft movement. The pages fall together. The lamp hums low. The room keeps its hush. May forgiveness, when you can offer it, bring peace. May reconciliation, when it is safe, reflect a patient love. Rest now with the quiet knowledge that mercy keeps watch. Good night. The lamp is low. The page rustles when turned. I settle the Bible in my hands and breathe with it. This part is a quiet invitation to rest inside a single verse. I read a line from Colossians slowly in my mind. The phrase speaks about bearing with one another. It calls for forgiveness. It asks that we forgive as the Lord forgave us. The words have a simple, steady shape. They do not rush. They do not argue. They offer a place to land. Listen as the voice slows. Let a single phrase find the ear. Choose the few words that matter most to tonight. Perhaps it is bear with one another. Perhaps it is forgive, as the Lord forgave you. Let that phrase become a soft rhythm. Repeat it quietly. Let it match the beat of the breath. God's word can act like a soothing balm. Picture a small wound on the palm. The skin is raw and tender. A cool ointment is dabbed on. It does not hide the scar. It soothes the pain. It helps the skin to knit. Scripture works like that ointment. It does not erase memory. It eases the ache enough for healing to begin. A psalm comes to mind too. The lines that tell of gentle mending and a close heart sit beside the Colossians phrase. The psalm speaks of a God who draws near to the broken. It says that wounds are noticed and tended. These words do not lecture. They hold. They move slowly into the chest and steady its rhythm. I give a small practice for the evening. Pick one verse only. Keep it short. Keep it under 10 words, if possible. Read it slowly, 3 times. Say it on the inhale. Say it on the exhale. Treat the phrase like a tiny pebble dropped into a still pool. Watch the ripples settle. The first repetition is recognition. The second is acceptance. The third is rest. Try another quiet exercise. Write the verse on a small card. Fold the card once. Place it on the nightstand. The paper is a witness, not a test. In the dark hours, let fingers find that folded line. Trace the letters with a fingertip. The motion turns the mind away from lists and back to the single promise. If the chest tightens, use the verse as a soft salve. Breathe in the first half. Breathe out the second half. Imagine the words like warm oil pressed to a sore place. With each exhale, picture the balm sinking deeper. The shoulders loosen. The jaw unclenches. The thought is simple. Forgiveness can begin in the small motions of breath. Keep the images spare. Picture a small lamp on a shelf. The lamp is not blazing. It gives a narrow glow that makes the immediate things clear. The verse lights the feet for the next step. It does not show every mile. It simply shows one footing at a time. That suffices for the night. Another useful way to hold a verse is to tuck its first letter in the palm. Form the letter with the thumb. Let that single shape be a cipher for the whole promise. When midnight thoughts return, make the letter again. The body remembers the motion more easily than the mind. Remembers a long argument. Movement becomes prayer without words. If forgiveness feels heavy, begin tiny. Choose one small wrong that needs release. Name it in one short sentence inside. Put it beside the verse on the card. Fold both together. The 2 items rest on the table like a pair of tools. One is promise. The other is the willingness to try. This pairing calms the night. Be gentle with any resistance. The mind may object. It may demand proof or justice. Hear the thought without wrestling. Say the verse again and breathe. Let tension come and go like weather. The verse does not chase the wind away. It teaches how to make a shelter in it. God's word can be a balm, not by removing pain instantly, but by offering rhythm to the wounded places. A steady phrase repeated becomes a metronome that keeps the heart from racing. A single line memorized becomes a friend in the dark. The presence it brings is neither loud nor flashy. It is the slow work of a steady hand. There is a small, practical pattern to try in the morning. Keep the card where the eyes open first. Read the phrase once before the pillow is fully put aside. Let that reading be a quiet promise to the day. A short action anchors the long one. The verse then moves from a nighttime salve into a daytime habit for those who prefer motion. Pair the verse with a small gesture. Reach slowly. Stretch the arms wide. Speak the verse as the hands fold inward. Let the physical movement and the words meet. The body learns the promise in a different language. It becomes less theoretical. It becomes lived. Tonight I read the verse again. Slowly, each syllable lands like a small stone. Allow the weight to feel manageable. Let the truth be something light enough to lift. Forgive, as the Lord forgave you. Say it once. Breathe. Say it again. Breathe. If sorrow returns, reach for a psalm that pieces the heart into a softer shape. Recall the line about being close to the broken-hearted. Picture that nearness like a warm cloak draped over cold shoulders. The words do not fix everything. They simply keep the weariness from spreading. Do not rush the practice. Sleep is not a race. The verse needs time to settle. Offer it the quiet of repeated breath. Let the mind pass over it like fingers across the grain of wood. Notice how the phrase shifts in tone as night deepens. Sometimes it brightens the chest. Sometimes it only steadies the hand. Both are gifts. A small prayer follows. Short and plain. Ask for help to carry the thing that is too heavy. Ask for the courage to release one small grievance. The request is a single line kept inside. It need not be ornate. The asking itself opens a door. When the verse becomes familiar, carry it like a pebble in a pocket. Touch it when the day tightens. Let the verse return gently to the ear. The habit trains the heart to come back to mercy and to let mercy do its gentle work. Before I close this part, one last practice. Close the eyes. Place a hand on the chest. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. With each exhale, say the chosen phrase in the mind. Let the breath and the phrase keep time. When the cycle finishes, rest in the silence that follows. I close the Bible with careful hands. The paper sighs shut. The lamp keeps its low glow for a few long heartbeats. The verse rests on the nightstand like a small, steady thing. Let it be a balm as sleep comes. Let forgiveness be an offering that begins in a gentle breath. Good night. The lamp throws a careful circle of light. The Bible rests in my hands. The room breathes with us. I open the book and let the paper whisper. Tonight I think of a lamp for the night. I think of a small voice that can speak even when sleep is near. I read Psalm 119:105 slowly, not as a test but as a guide. The line is a lamp for the feet and a light for the path. The image is plain. It fits a hand on a bedside table. It holds a little light in a dark hour. Let that verse sit against the chest. Let it be a friendly point of orientation. Ending the day with prayer is a way of setting down the day's work. It is not a list to be judged. It is a motion of handing over. I show a gentle shape to that motion. The shape is small. It fits a single breath. Begin with a quieting breath. Inhale slowly. Feel the air fill the ribs like a cautious tide. Exhale and imagine the day easing its grip on the shoulders. Do this twice more. The air makes a doorway for prayer. Do not hurry. Prayers at night are short. They are like small lanterns placed along a path. One lamp for a direction. One lamp for a hurt. One lamp for thanks. Keep them brief. A sentence does enough work. Say it softly in the mind. Let it be true and simple. First, give thanks. Name one small mercy from the day. It may be a warm meal, a kind word, a moment that did not fall apart. Say it once in the heart. The act of naming is a way of noticing. Notice sets the mind in a gentler mode. It tells the night that some good has touched the day. Second, hand over a worry. Picture the worry as a small bundle. Place it on the bedside table in the mind. Imagine a lamp beside thee. Let the lamp light the bundle and make its edges visible. Do not try to fix what is inside. Offer the bundle to the lamp's light. Tell the quiet that the night will keep watch. This handing over is a practical act. It does not dissolve the problem. It shifts the burden. Third, bring one short request for guidance. Ask simply for a small, clear next step. Guidance often looks small. It arrives as a thought in the morning. It comes as a gentle nudge when the day opens. Name that request and tuck it beside the lamp. The wording need not be ornate. The gesture is what matters. Include others in the night. Lift one person's name in your mind. Send a small, silent wish for their rest. Prayer that includes others loosens the tightness of self-focused worry. It widens the space in which mercy moves. Night prayers also practice honesty. If regret sits heavy, admit one short thing and then offer it to the light. Confession is not a trial. It is a clearing. It opens the chest so rest can enter. Keep the admission brief. Follow it with a small promise to try a different thing tomorrow. The promise need not be grand. A simple intention steadies the heart. God hears every word, even whispers. The Bible's lamp image helps here. A lamp does not shout. It gives a steady burn. Think of prayer as a whisper caught by light. The whisper has worth. Trust that the quiet reaches as much as the loud. Listening is part of the practice. After a short prayer, sit in silence for a minute. Let the mind settle into the space the prayer opens. Often, a small sense of direction or a soft thought arrives in that silence. Do not chase it. Receive it like a drop of rain on the palm. Create a nightly pattern that can be repeated. Repetition anchors. A simple pattern could be these 4 steps. Thanks. Hand over. Ask for guidance. Include another. Keep the language short. Keep the tone kind. Repeat the pattern for 3 nights and see how the body learns to trust the motion. If words are hard, use a single phrase you can repeat. Let it be a short line drawn from scripture or from the heart. Say it in rhythm with the breath. The phrase becomes a small drumbeat that steadies the mind. Over time, it acts like a lantern that does not need explanation. Prayer at night can also be a listening for dreams. Ask gently that tonight's sleep be shaped in ways that help. Pray for a heart that wakes open to a small next step. Dreams sometimes bring clarity in images. Ask for wisdom to meet what comes. Should anything arrive, pray for the body as well. Ask for rest where the muscles are tight. Ask for softness where the jaw clenches. The request can be specific in a quiet way, a small easing in the neck, a longer exhale in the chest. The body often answers prayer by loosening. Notice those tiny changes. End the prayer time with a brief trust gesture. Imagine the lamp from Psalm 119 placed on the path ahead. Step toward it in your mind, one slow foot. Then the next. Let the final thought be a handing of the night to the lamp's keeping. The image invites a sleep that is watched and guided. I lead a short prayer now. I do not need many words. I speak slowly, and then I let silence carry the request. I thank. I hand over. I ask. I listen. I include others. I tuck the small petitions beside the lamp in my mind. The motion is quiet and deliberate. It prepares the heart for sleep. If wakefulness returns in the night, use a brief rescue prayer. Breathe once. Name the interruption in one word. Say the simple phrase, light for my feet. Let the image of a lamp quiet the thoughts. Repeat the breath. The night will answer in small measures. Sometimes prayer is also a promise to act in the morning. Before sleep, choose one tiny step to take at first light. It could be a short note, a 5-minute walk, a glass of water. Write it on a scrap of paper. Place it where the morning will find it. This small plan gives the night something practical to rest toward. Remember mercy when the mind replays failures. Mercy is not ignoring truth. It is meeting truth with a steady hand. Offer the ache to the lamp and ask for a merciful framing. Mercy often appears as a gentle inclination toward better choices, not as swift erasure of mistake. At the end of the practice, stay in the quiet for a moment. Let the room hold the prayers like a bowl holds water. Hear the small sound of breathing. Let the chest rise and fall in time with the lamp's imagined glow. I close the Bible slowly. The pages meet like a soft clap. The lamp keeps its small circle of light for a few long breaths. The prayer is done, but present. It will keep a while in the room like a scent. Tonight, let the lamp of Psalm 119105 be more than an image. Let it be the way of prayer that we practice. Let the word guide small steps in sleep. Let the night learn to answer whispers with quiet direction. I rest in this rhythm with you. I tuck the folded scrap of the morning step by the lamp. I breathe once more. I let the last exhale be a handing over. The house keeps its hush. The Bible closes. The lamp lowers. The path stays lit in a gentle way. Good night. Shutsi. The lamp keeps its small circle. I open the Bible and let my thumb find the place. Tonight I turn to a promise that stays through every season. The promise is life that does not end with the breath. It is a hope that holds beyond the horizon of the day. I do not preach. I describe. Think of a road that runs past the edge of sight. The path bends, and then continues into a morning you cannot yet name. The promise says the road has a destination. It is a place where sorrow makes room for joy, and tiredness is changed into rest that lasts. John 3:1-6 sits quietly in my mind. The phrase I carry is simple. God's love is greater than the small ledger of our faults. He gives life freely. This life is not only for the present, it reaches beyond the last breath and into a steadier morning. The thought is a comfort, not a test. Picture gardener first light. The plants are still bowed from night, but they face the east. A long day will come, and with it the small miracles of leaf and bloom. Eternal life is not a distant prize. It is a steady promise that the story continues in gentle ways. It gives shape to grief. It gives company to fear. If the mind resists the idea, begin small. Imagine one thin thread of light running from the bedside lamp toward a distant shore. Follow that thread with a finger in your mind. Do not demand a map. Keep the motion soft. Let the thread lead you only as far as the next breath. A few short practices help this land in the body. Place a hand where the heart rests. Feel the pulse. Breathe in for 4 counts. Breathe out for 6. With each exhale, imagine the thought of unending care becoming a little clearer. Let the rhythm be the proof that hope is not a rush, but a steady presence. Another image is a harbor that holds many boats. Each boat is a life. The harbor is wide enough. It keeps every vessel safe. The promise of eternal life is the assurance that the harbor exists. Even when the sea looks wild, the idea comforts by removing the need to keep every boat afloat alone. I offer a brief unadorned prayer. Thank for the love that needs no earning. Ask for the comfort of the promise to be near in the night. Ask for a quiet trust that stretches into the unknown. Keep the words short. Make them honest. Do not mistake this hope for a demand to be fearless. Fear is human. The promise simply places another hand beside it. When grief presses, let that hand rest on the shoulder. Let it steady the breath. Let it be a company in the dark. If doubt returns, look for small proofs. Think of a day when help arrived just in time. Remember a kindness that came without explanation. These ordinary mercies form a string of moments that look like a pattern. They are the small stitches of a larger promise. A practice I suggest for the late hour is to imagine a long table set for many. Each plate holds a memory of love, a warm meal, a laugh, a held hand, an answered prayer. See that table stretch beyond the room. Know that somewhere a place is reserved. Let that image ease the tightness in the chest. Rest is part of the promise too. Sleep is not a denial of hope. It is its doorway. The night performs a slow work that day cannot finish. Trust that rest is included in the gift of life. Sleep becomes a small rehearsal for the deeper rest to come. I end this part with a short invitation. If your heart is willing, receive this simple truth. Life given freely is a comfort you may hold tonight. Let it be a quiet lamp at the edge of worry, Let it steady your breath. Let it stay with you as sleep comes. Shabbat. The lamp is softer now. The Bible closes gently in my hands. We reach the last part of this set. The voice is the same. The goal is the same: mercy, hope, and calm. The night is still. The room listens. I speak a few final truths. Keep them small. First, God stays near. Presence matters more than answers. Second, mercy meets mistakes with hands that mend. Third, hope is patient. It grows by small acts, not by loud promises. Fourth, rest is a gift, not a failure. These are not slogans. They are steady invitations. Remember the threads we have walked together. We moved through presence and prayer. We touched mercy and forgiveness. We looked at strength in weakness and the care of neighbors. We practiced small habits of verse, a folded paper, a breathing pattern. Each practice is a gentle tool. Use the ones that fit tonight. A closing ritual helps the evening end with purpose. Place a hand over the place. The heart rests. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 6. Name. In a single short phrase. One thing to let go for the night. Fold that thought like a small paper and set it beside the lamp in the mind. Leave it there. Promise nothing more to the night. Now, name one tiny hope for tomorrow. Keep it specific and small. Perhaps a short walk, a brief call, a verse to read with coffee. Write it on a scrap if that helps. Fold it and place it where the eye finds it at dawn. The practice is practical. It trains the hands to live by small steps, which build into steadier days. If gratitude is hard tonight, find one small mercy and sit with it for a breath or two. It can be a warm cup, a quiet hour, a voice that reached out. Let that memory be the night's small lamp. It will keep the mind from wandering into harsher stories. I offer a final benediction now, plain and slow. May mercy meet the parts that ache. May peace keep watch over the heart and mind. May hope, like a small light, stand at the edge of the room. May rest come without hurry. May the promise of life that reaches beyond this night be a quiet comfort at the bedside. If these evenings have been a shelter, consider passing a blanket to someone else. A simple share lets another person find rest. No pressure, only an invitation to share the calm. I close the Bible with a slow hand. The pages rest. The lamp hums low. Stay in this silence for a few breaths. Let the breath be the last prayer tonight. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lay down the day as gently as you can. I will read again another time. For now, sleep with the steady knowledge that mercy surrounds you. The promise waits like a harbor beyond the visible shore. Step toward it at your own pace. Good night. The lamp makes its familiar pool of light. The Bible rests warm in my hands. I breathe once, and the room follows. Tonight, I sit still longer than usual. I hold the book like a quiet friend. I let the paper settle. I read a short passage now, not to solve, but to remind. The lines speak of an ever-present love. They do not shout. They sit close and steady. I read slowly. The syllables land like soft stones. The room listens. I do not promise that every question will be answered. I do promise that someone keeps watch. The promise is not a concept to argue. It is a simple fact to rest against. The image that helps me is a keeper of keys walking a quiet corridor. The keeper knows every door. The steps are soft. The keeper does not hurry. That knowledge comforts more than an argument. Over these nights I have chosen small practices. They are not grand. They are steady. Tonight I offer one more practice. Place a hand where the heart moves. Keep the hand light. Breathe in slowly. Count to 4. Breathe out slowly. Count to 6. Let the longer exhale loosen the day's tightness. Repeat 3 times. The breath becomes a small bell that rings the same note each time. The repetition calms the nervous system. It offers a way to let thoughts pass without wrestling them. I fold a thought into a simple image. Immagine a lamp on a distant shore. Its beam sweeps across water. The beam does not need to show the whole sea. It needs only to show enough to walk a single step. Let that be the night's picture. You do not have to see the entire road. A lit step is enough. I read another short line. It speaks of holes that do not fail. The words are quiet. They do not demand reply. They sit like a warm cloth around a chilled wrist. I let the sound sink into the chest. A small warmth follows. If worry tugs, give it a small name. Say it once in the mind. Do not rehearse its story. Place it on an imagined shelf. See how the shelf keeps it from falling to the floor. The motion is a tiny ceremony. It moves anxiety from being carried to being kept. That shifting matters. I place one more item on that same shelf, a single small hope. Make it small enough to be believable. Perhaps a call to a friend. Perhaps a 5-minute walk at dawn. Perhaps one verse read with the coffee. Write it on a scrap if that helps. Fold it and set it where morning will find it. The one small hope trains the hands to reach forward without overburdening the night. Before sleep, I read aloud one short prayer. I keep it spare. I thank for what was good. I hand over a single worry. He asked for gentle guidance tomorrow. The prayer is not long. It is an offering of a few honest words. The act of voicing them makes the motion more real. Mercy shows up in actions. I have watched it arrive as a meal left warm at a door. I have seen it come as a note tucked into a pocket. I have held it as another person's time given without calculation. God's love often moves through such hands. The smallest kindnesses add up. They form a net beneath a person's steps. Tonight, I ask for permission to name a comfort that does not demand performance. Accept this as a present, not a reward. Let the acceptance itself be an act of peace. Place the acceptance in the palm of your mind. Feel how the shoulders loosen when the mind allows receiving without earning. I speak now of listening. Prayer is not only telling, it is also holding silence and waiting for a small answer. After a short prayer, sit in stillness for 1 minute. Do not reach for words. Let a thought, an image, or a gentle impulse come. It may be a memory of a kind act. It may be a tiny plan. Receive it without judging. Often the heart hears an encouragement that the loud mind misses. If grief visits, treat it tenderly. Give grief a small corner of the night. Name the loss. Let tears be what they are. Then place the rest of the evening in the care of the quiet. Mourning does not have to fill the whole room. It can sit beside the lamp. Allow space for both sorrow and the gentleness that watches over it. There will be nights when sleep does not come quickly. When that happens, return to a small practice. Breathe. Name one small good. Imagine the lamp on the shore. Keep the steps gentle and repetitive. The body learns rhythm through repeated, calm motions. In time, the rhythm becomes the bridge from waking to rest. I close the Bible slowly now. The cover meets the pages with a low sound. I do not close the presence that the words make. I set the book in a place where it will be easy to reach tomorrow. The action is practical, a habit of returning to a steady source. Habits matter because they reform the heart in small ways. Before I finish, I give a simple charge. Do one small thing tomorrow that honors rest. Maybe take an extra 10 minutes to sit with a cup. Maybe step outside to feel sun on the face. Maybe say one sentence of thanks. Keep the step tiny. The body yields to small, consistent practices more readily than to grand plans. I speak a final benediction now. Hear it as a soft blanket placed over shoulders. May the steady presence you cannot see keep you company. May love meet the thin places and hold them gently. May mercy tend what is torn. May hope keep a small lantern near your bed. May rest come without hurry. If these evenings have been a shelter, pass a small kindness on tomorrow. A note, a bowl of soup, a brief call. These are ways mercy continues. The act is small. The effect is large. Give the warmth you have received. It becomes part of the long chain that keeps watch. I stay here a moment more. The lamp throws a last careful circle. Breath finds that slow pattern again. Hand over what you must. Keep one tiny hope for morning. Fold it and set it near the lamp in the mind. Let the room do the rest. I will read again another time. For now I close with the simplest truth I can offer. God is near, not as a distant idea, but as a steady holding. The presence is constant. The love does not waver with the night. Sleep well. Rest in that keeping. Let the promise carry you through the dark, like a reliable lantern on the shore. Take the next step in the morning. Slowly. The night has done its work. The day will bring its own mercies. Good night.